Hey guys, my name is Krafty Kathy. Welcome to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. I am a small business owner here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I have a little antique booth, and by trade, I'm a nurse. But my passion and my love is to do DIYs, home decor, and antiques, that kind of thing. So if you like antique stores, junk stores, oddities, thrift hauls, DIYs in general, you're in the right place if this is the first time you've been here, and I am tickled pink that you're here with us today. So my husband has a friend that is some way over a bunch of B&Bs, and there is a little resort in Spring City, Tennessee. It's called Arrowhead Resort. She contacted my husband and said, hey, we are putting together an event for this weekend. It's at Arrowhead, and so why don't your wife set up one of the booths? And he was like, sure. So I've got about 5 days to get stuff together and do a bunch of quick DIYs. I don't have a lot of stuff like just sitting around here in my craft room. I'm literally gonna be pulling stuff off my walls like, I'll take that, give me that, what about that? Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but we're gonna go because I think it would be fun, and I'm bringing you guys along with me. So we're gonna have a good time, but for right now, we're gonna do some DIYs and get some quick DIYs ready for this festival, and I'm gonna show you a couple of quick ones to throw together. So let's get into this video and see what I come up with. I ended up with so many different DIYs, I couldn't fit them all in this video, but I'm gonna show you some of my favorites and ones that sell really good. The first one is going to be this rolling pin that I got at an antique flea market on my wedding anniversary. I'm going to take the Home Decor brand white chalk paint and give it 2 coats on the body. Then I'm going to use the color Oatmeal by Home Decor, and I'm going to give the handles 2 coats. I really like this color. It's a khaki color and it goes so well with so many different things. Then a couple of years ago, before I knew that you could make your own pictures on rice paper, I purchased this rice paper off of the internet, so I have no idea where I bought it at. I've literally had it for years. So I'm just going to use this. It's very thin, and you know I like to decoupage with rice paper. So I don't like any kind of straight edges when I'm decoupaging, you know, so I just rip all the way around the edges. And we're just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge right on the body part of this rolling pin, and we're just going to start decoupaging. And you know you don't have many wrinkles whenever you are decoupaging with rice paper, so I didn't have to touch it up too much. But when I do, I just use my saran wrap, and I just kind of use my finger like it's an iron and just kind of push out those wrinkles from the heat of my finger and that saran wrap, and it does the trick every time. It's a good quick decoupage. When I was doing this project, it drove me crazy that I colored the body part white, because usually when you're decoupaging, you want that bottom part to be the same color as the main color on your piece. And what I mean by that is it's mostly blue on that picture, the rice paper picture. So I mixed up Pool and Lagoon by Waverly and come up with this blue color that was the same color, and I painted around any areas where the blue was showing. And I've got this little stamp that I got off of Amazon. It's in my Amazon store if y'all want it. They're only like $6, and it's got a bunch of different French words on it, and I put the word flora on there, and then there was some script. You can't really read what it says. It's just French script, and I put it on there. I put a couple pieces on the handle, and I did all that in that blue color that I had mixed up. Then I used some of my IOD transfers, and I didn't have a lot of room to put stuff, so I just used just like a couple little small words that said something about roses, or was it flora? I'm not sure, but it was one of those. And I put it on the handle, and then I thought that was cute. And on the other side, I put like a date. I think it was 1818. I wanted this to look old and used, so I grabbed my little sanding sponge and went over even the rice paper so it would look kind of torn a little and ripped, if you will, and just kind of went over that and the handle a little bit. So that was my first project. It was very easy and people love rolling pins. I only paid $2.50 for the rolling pin and I'm going to sell it for 12 bucks. What do y'all think? If you're enjoying this content, there's a few things I would like to ask you. Please give me a big thumbs up, that's the like button, and share. And please subscribe. Hit that red button, it's totally free. And hit that bell beside it so YouTube lets you know when I put out a video. Another big quick seller is tumblers and mugs. And so I made this SVG from Creative Fabrica, that company I told you guys about a few weeks ago, and it says Beach Life, hashtag Beach Life. And I think it's so cute. It's the lady with her hair up. And so I just cut that off. We're going to put this on a mug. Now, I had several tumblers, and I didn't have time to make a bunch of them. So I just wanted to have a couple of each in case people wanted a mug or a tumbler. So I cut it off, and you get it to the size of the mug itself. And I just kind of use my fingers to bend it so I know where to cut it at. Now, these are super easy to make, and you just get your tape and you tape your SVG face first to what you're sublimating to, just like you do on a shirt or a fabric or anything. And there's a company named Vever, I'm not sure how you say it, that sent me this mug press, y'all, and I have a 12% off coupon. Now, you can get this mug press for right around $100, and I'm just going to let you know straight up, I've tried the Cricut brand and I've tried this brand. And to me, this brand was better. It was faster and it did the exact same thing that big name brand did. It just didn't have the big name brand price. So I wanted to let y'all know that. And I'm going to leave their information in the description box below in case you want to try them out. Now watch this. This is something different. Right as soon as you put the mug in, it just closes automatically. And your buttons light up. And in minutes, you've got your mug. Now, this is another picture that I'm going to put on a tumbler. And it says Flea Market Antique Junkie. And I think that's so cute. And it's got the truck on it. So while my mug is in there, I'm going to wrap this around my tumbler so I can show you how to do a tumbler. Now, they're super easy to do too. This is a 20-ounce skinny tumbler. You just wrap your SVG around it. And you put your tape on it just like I did on the mug. And look at that. When the mug is ready, it opens up by itself. So in the amount of time it took me to wrap that tumbler, the mug was finished. And you just leave it there for a few seconds and let it cool off. But I am so amazed at how fast this machine is compared to the other one. Let's just say that. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but I'm going to be truthful to you guys. And to me, I would rather have this machine than the more pricier one. So I just put the wax paper around my tumbler and I set it down in there. And the only difference is since it's skinny, I put a small piece of cardboard. And that's just what I come up with to fill in that little bit of space so it will be touching the heater and sublimate correctly. Because, you know, this machine is a mug press. It's for mugs. But if you use your head, you can figure out how to do tumblers in it too. And that's just the way that this old country girl figured out how it works. So, I take my tape off and I'm so impressed by this. So here is how the mug turned out. And I think it is beautiful. And in the meantime, since the tumbler is so tall, when it finishes its first cycle, you flip it upside down so both sides have equal time on the heater. Now, you know you can sell these tumblers for about 20 bucks a piece, and the mugs for probably about $7 is a good price. Here's just a couple that I made because I didn't have a lot of time, as you know. This one has different Bible verses on it. It says, "You are beautiful, chosen,
loved just all these beautiful things that comes with it. But you know, my favorite is that flea market antique junkie. I even made one with my name on it.
I had to make one for myself. It was the very first time I used it just to try it out. But in all seriousness, the tumblers and the mugs are a great way to make money from your DIYs. So if you've been thinking about getting one of these machines, I highly suggest that you use that 12% coupon and go to the description box and get you one. I would rather have this machine than any other. The next one is an old cedar box that I bought from a lady that was about to have an estate sale and get rid of her stuff. I love the detail on the front of this box, but I decided to paint it white, and I'm going to cover the whole thing with 2 coats. After my 2 full coats, you can still see that rectangle in the middle where that picture was. So I thought just to make that a feature, and I traced that out with my pencil, and then I used that pretty green color by DIY called Pottery, and I just traced that out, and it really made a most beautiful design. So when the paint was dry, I just grabbed a couple of my transfers, the ones from one of their newest books that had all the seed packets on it, and we're going to put these all over the box. So I just kind of catty-cornered it all around this box and placed them all over in different directions. Now the way that you do the transfers is you just lay them down and you use the little tool that they send with it, or your fingernail, which I prefer, and you just kind of rub on the top of it and it leaves it on there. And like I said, I put these transfers all over this box. I wanted it to kind of look like an old seed box that you would keep your seeds or something in. And I just kind of placed it everywhere and went crazy with it. Now, to be honest with you, I kind of hope nobody buys this because I want to keep it for myself. It's one of those old cedar boxes that you don't come by very often. After I had all the transfers where I wanted them, I took my sanding sponge and just lightly went all over this because I wanted it to look old and vintagey. I didn't want it to look brand new and spotless. I wanted it to kind of look roughed up a little bit.
Then I had some antique wax that was really watered down because I wanted it thin, and I just kind of went around the edges of this box with a paintbrush and rubbed it in, and then I wiped it off just so that it would look old and, you know, vintagey. I didn't want to leave that hardware white in the back, so this is a little trick that I do when I'm in a hurry, is just grab a Sharpie and literally color that in. And it looks like I spent time to go back and just paint that by itself. You never notice the difference. And on the inside, I just lined it with cardstock. Now, when I have this laying out for sale, I'm just going to show it with some flowers inside of it. And I'm going to ask $15 for the box.
Young, and we didn't want to be exposed. Even though it was cold, we were never wearing proper clothes.
The next one is one that's always a big seller in my booth, and it's Crocs. Now, I put 2 coats of Slick Stick by Dixie Belle on there, and you put it on anything that's kind of hard to paint like glass and such. And I'm just mixing up my baking soda and paint mixture. I'm using Mineral Paint by Waverly, and I'm going to use equal parts of paint and baking soda to make my mixture where it's going to look kind of cementy. I went all around these Crocs, and I started off using like a dabbing motion. And what I mean by that is I just kind of paint it on there, and then I go back over it and just kind of dab it with my paintbrush, and that gives it those peaks and texture that I'm looking for to make it look like a cement design, if that makes sense. You know, like make it look cementy. I just try to get the paint on there to start off, and then when it's almost dry is when I start dabbing it on there, and that's what gives it those nice peaks. I did both Crocs and the lids this way.
And then I took some of my clay, which is the DAS brand, and I have it in my Amazon store, and I just worked it with my hands, and I kind of pushed it down flat. And then I looked for anything that I could find to roll it out with, and so I just used a big candle and just kind of rolled it out. And I actually used the top of a jar to cut the shape, the round shape, like you're cutting out biscuits. You know what I mean? I just pushed it down to get that round shape, and I made a beautiful little round clay mold that's going to go on the front. Then I took my Titebond glue. It's my favorite to use when I'm putting a mold on something. And I just put it all over the back and laid one of the circles on each of my Crocs. And then I just used a baby wipe to kind of smear it, not smear it, but to make it even across the top. If you have any imperfections, all you have to do is just you either wet your finger or use like a baby wipe and kind of rub it around, and that clay goes exactly the way that you want it to. I then painted that circle with the mineral chalk paint, and then I used some of that baking soda mixture to go around and dab around the edges so it all was cohesive and went together. Then I took my IOD typesetter stamps, and I'm just going to place a stamp on each of these on the front of the Croc, and I just placed number 1 on the big one, and then on the small one I placed a number 2. Then I took my Debbie's DIY white wax, and I put it all over the Croc, over the lid, and over the Croc itself. And I wipe it on, and then I just wipe it back off. And this all depends on how much you want on there. You can take a lot of it off or a little bit of it off. And it just gives it that old world vintage look, and it's beautiful. I think I have about $5 in both of these Crocs, and I'm going to ask $15 for the set. This next one is a super easy DIY. I have this resin cow that I made from one of my molds a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just painting it with this color called Java by Home Decor, and it's a dark brown color. Now the reason why this one is so easy is because when I do my molds and I have extra resin left over, I just pour it in different ones so that I have a quick go-to whenever I have one of those projects, and so I don't have to take the time to make another mold. All I do is just have it ready, and I can just grab it and get it done. And then I dried it, and I bought this white basket for $2 the other day, and I just gave it 2 coats of white spray paint by Rust-Oleum 2 times. When I hit the heat to that cow, it caused that resin to be able to bend and form to the shape of that basket. So I just put my Titebond glue on the back, and I put that cow on the front of the basket, and then I just use regular old masking tape to hold it in place until it dries securely. I also have a piece that says farmhouse, and it comes from that same mold, and I painted it cashew by Waverly, which is a pretty oatmeal-y kind of color, and I just went over the back of it with my glue, and I'm going to place it right above the cow and do the tape also. I waited overnight, let this dry, and this basket is going to be $12. Super easy, and it's going to come with the tea towel, and you can stick your eggs or whatever you want in there. Baskets are always a quick and easy seller, and they're always sure to sell, even with only 2 eggs floating in them. In case you didn't catch that, I could only find 2 of my wooden eggs to display in this basket, so there was like 1 brown egg sticking up. It'll sell. The next one is going to be glass and pottery that I did, and I'm just going to show you some different ones. I had these little terracotta pots from the Dollar Tree. I painted some white and some mineral, and I have the two different sizes. I also have this old-timey perfume bottle, and it's a terracotta right now, but I painted it white. Then I used one of my bird song molds that I had already made and put that on the front of it, and then a little transfer. And then I have a mason jar that I painted mineral color, and I'm going to use the traditional pots transfer to go on the front of that. I just rubbed the image on the front, and then when I was finished with that, I burnished it. Now, people go crazy over these mason jars, especially when they have just a couple little flowers in them. And then I took my Debbie's DIY white wax and I went all the way around this, and then I just wiped off the excess. And I plan to ask $5 each for the mason jar and $5 for the little perfume bottle. The chickens are candle holders and they're $5. The next one is this little terracotta pot that I did a mineral color, and I'm going to do some decoupage on it. And I have this beautiful peacock napkin, and the whole peacock's not going to fit on there, but the most of him will. So I take it down to the very top coat, and I'm using the Mod Podge that's called Antique, which I don't notice much of a difference except for a slight ivory color to it. And then I just go down and do my decoupage. And you know, I always start from the middle and work my way out. And I always use my saran wrap, especially with napkins, because they're so thin, to get those wrinkles out. And when I got to the bottom where his tail was coming off the bottom, I just kind of ripped it off, then sanded it. And then I'm going to take a piece of floral foam and stick it down inside there. And I've got these flowers from Walmart, and they are baby's breath, the little white flowers. I'm going to put those down inside, but first I just put a little bit of the green moss down on top of my floral foam. Then I just cut that baby's breath up, and I place a couple sprigs of it down inside that floral foam, and then one peach peony. And with all those resin pieces that I had a little farmyard chicken, and I just put my glue on the back of it and placed it on one of the smaller little pottery pieces, the little terracotta pots, that was a mineral color. And I had one of the little birds that comes from the bird song mold, and it is actually a clay mold, and I just placed it on the top of one of those small little terracotta pots. Even though these are super easy to make, people absolutely love them. I'm going to ask $5 for the big one and $3 for the two smaller ones, and I will add flowers and moss to those also. What do you think? So for the sake of time, which I don't have much of, I'm just going to put the flowers in those two smaller ones when I arrive at the festival. It helps them sell better. This last one is a jug that I have bought at a thrift store for 50 cents or $1. It says Mississippi Mud. I put 2 coats of that slick stick on it that you cover with glass. It helps for paint to stick. It's like a primer for glass. I put 2 coats, and then I put 1 or 2 coats of my Waverly white chalk paint. And I'm just simply going to put a label on here. And it's a label that is like an old apothecary label. It says alcohol, rubbing alcohol on it. I just put that transfer on there. Then I used some of that antique wax and water mixture that I have and went all around the bottle to make it look old and distressed. And that's pretty much all I did with this one. I'm going to display it with flowers out of the top and ask $5 for it.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way, don't know what you
I forgot about this last basket. It's so cute. It has a little chicken on it, and I got it at the thrift store for $2, and you put flowers or silverware in it. And it was this brown color, which of course I don't like. So I put a little bit of a sealer on it so that that brown wouldn't come through, and gave it a couple of coats of white spray paint. Then I just painted that little chicken a brown color, and that was all. Well, if you stuck around through this whole video, I just want to thank you so very much. I love you guys, and I hope that everybody stays safe and has a good weekend this week. And I hope that you were able to learn just a couple of quick DIYs to throw together if you're interested in selling your stuff. I'm going to take you guys along with me to the sale, and we'll see how we do, and we'll talk about that next week. And I will show you the festival and everything. And I love you guys, and like I said, there were many more, but I just couldn't show them all in this video. I hope y'all have a good week. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to watch the bloopers.
Hey everybody, it's Crafty Bobby Joe, Kathy's beautiful, talented, lovely, and forever pleasurable cousin here in Tennessee. Well, guess what? I just wanted to let you guys know about what's been going on in my life. I know there's a lot of people been asking my cousin Kathy about me going to California and becoming a big old movie star. Well, for right now, that's on the back burner. And Mama thinks that the reason why they've done that is because of that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. She says that I will be Johnny Depp's next leading lady in the movie that he's going to be coming out in. It's a hush-hush situation, but I am going to be in the starring role. I just know it. Because for years, I have watched all of his movies. I have studied him. And I just loved him in that movie, Cry Baby. Do y'all remember that, where he's with that old country girl? So that makes me think that he probably likes us country girls. And what a better country girl to come after besides old Bobby Joe. Are you asking about Buford? Well, I guess that you ought to find out sooner or later. Him and Sally Joe ran off. And do you know that old sorry Sally, boy, she's something else. She met him at the VFW and stole him. Some people say she just put a hook right in his jaw and pulled him right out of there. But anyways, we're separated right now, so my mind's open to the Johnny Depp situation. So anyways, that trial ought to be over with any day now, and I suspect that they will be ringing my telephone off the hook wanting me to come to California, because you know that I'm destined to be a big old star, just like Loretti Lynn. I'm gonna make it, guys. I just know I am. But anyways, I just wanted to let y'all know what was going on and why I hadn't been on here too much lately. I had a little bit of heartache whenever Buford left, but I guess it's for the best. You know, he tried to dress up for our wedding in a pirate suit, if y'all remember, but it's 'cause I had this thing for Johnny Depp. Well, anyways, he'll be coming after me soon, and I will be his leading lady. I love y'all, and I'll see you later. Bye!
We hope that you enjoyed today's video. Isn't that right, Sabby? And say, we love you. We love you. He's waiting on it. Because on our channel, we got love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. We got some love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo, baby, oh yeah. We love you guys. Say we love you. Oh, so much it hurts. Oh, yeah, yeah. These cheese smells so bad I cannot stand it, girl. I can't stand it. Come on. Oh, sorry, Minnie. Come on, Emo. Poor Emo has to hide over in the corner because you girls are bullies.